Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to explain about certificate manager resources in AWS, and it is a service that help you to provision, manage and deploy our SSL or a TLS certificate for securing our websites, APIs and other application as well running on AWS services. So let's move on to the agenda. Let's see what are the topic I'll be covering in this video. So, what's a certificate manager? Why we use? How the certificate manager works? And what are the types of certifications in ACM? And with which resources it will integrate it, and use cases and the pricing. So, what is AWS Certificate Manager? So, it's managed service offered by Amazon Web Service that simplify the process of provisioning, managing, and deploying secure sockets, layers, or TCP layer security certificates. So these certificates are essential for encrypting our data in transmit between a client and a server, ensuring a secure connection such as a browser, websites or a applications. So it's eliminate the need for complex manual tasks such as generating a certificate, signing request, submitting it to a certificate authority and manually uploading and rotating certificates. By automating this process, it reduces optional overhead and enhance the security of your applications. So let's understand the purpose of ACM. So the first thing is encrypt data in transit. So the SSL or TSL certificates provided by ACM ensure that data transfer between a client and a server is encrypted or not. This prevents unauthorized parties from interrupting or altering the data during the transmission. So, encryption is protecting sensitive informations like login credentials and payment details, securing API connections and backend services. So, the next thing is ensure secure connections. So, these SSL TSL certificates validate the identity of a server, assuring users that they are connected to a source or not. So these enhance trust by enabling HTTPS for websites, prevents phishing and man in the middle attacks by ensuring the authenticity of the connection. It will ensure the connection of the data. So how ACM meets these purposes of the encrypt data in transits and ensure secure connection. For that, we have three certificates. One is provisioning certificate, managing certificates, and a deploying certificates. So while coming to the provision certificates, it allow you to request public certificates directly from AWS for free of cost. You can also use a private security certificate authority to issue private certificate also for internet applications. So the next thing is managing certificates. So it's automate the certificate renewal and rotation, reduce the risk of expired or compromised certificates, and centralized management in the AWS console make it easy to track and maintain these certificates. So the last thing is deploy certificates. It integrates seamlessly with AWS services like Elastic Load Balancer, Amazon Cloud Phone, and Amazon API gateways. So these certificates can be deployed with just a few clicks, saving time and efforts. So the next is why we use AWS Certificate Manager. So it's an essential service for organizer that prioritize security and want to streamline the management SSL TCL certificates. So why? for free provisioning of certificates, automatic renewal, easy integration with AWS services, enhanced security with managed private keys. For this purpose, we use the certificate manager. So let's go and see one by one what are those things. So when it's come to the pre provisions of certificates, so in this we have a free certification for public certificates. So it provides a SSL TCL certificate for free, eliminating the cost of purchasing certificates from third party provider. And when it comes to its cost efficiency, the organization can secure multiple domains or subdomains at number of additional cost. It saves money that would otherwise be spent on a traditional certificate authorization. For example, a company hosting its application on AWS can secure its websites like www.example.com and the subdomains application.example.com, blog.example.com, which out incurring additional cost for these certification. So the next thing is automation renewal. So when it's come to the when this topic, it's eliminate the manual work because it automatically renews certifications before they expire. These ensure the continuous security and avoid services interpretations caused by the expired certificates. And it also reduces the risk of human errors by manually renewal can be error and time consuming. So it automates prevents mistakes such as missing renewal deadlines and a misconfiguration certificates. And also it sends a alerts for upcoming renewals, so allow admins to stay informed and plan accordingly. For example, an e-commerce site automation renewal ensure that customers always see the secure https padlock, maintaining their trust and preventing browser warnings. So the next thing is easy integration with AWS services. So it's seamless deployment integrate effortless with core AWS services such as elastic load balancing. So it's automatically attach the certificates to the load balancer, and Amazon CloudFront secures content delivery networks. So Amazon API gateway it's protect the RESTful and WebSocket APIs, and AWS Elastic Beanstalk it simplify application deployment with built-in certificate supports. So and it also minimal the request efforts, so it can be deployed to these services with just a few click an AWS management console without needing a deep expertise in SSL or a TCL. For example, a company using a cloud font for global content delivery can deploy an ACM certificates to secure all the traffic with minimal configurations. So the next thing is enhanced security with managed private keys. So it also manage a private keys for your certificates, ensuring they are stored securely and inaccessible to unauthorized users. So it also reduce the attacks by automating key management, minimize the risk of mishandling keys for accidental exposure, which are common cause of the security breaches. So, for example, an enterprise hosting sensitive financial application can rely on ACM to securely manage private keys and protect your data in transmit. So, the next thing is how AWS Certificate Manager works. First, it requests the certificate and then it validate for the domain ownership and deploy certificates and automatic renewal. And the last, I'll show you how to request a certificate. I'll show you the demo. Now, just understanding the theory, after I'll show in the practical. So when it's come to a request certificate, you can request a certificate using following methods in the Amazon Management Console for user-friendly graphic interface for a quick request, and command line interfaces for idle for your automations and integration into a scripts. And it's also suitable for developer buildings programmatic for workflow to request certificates and SDKs or APIs in AWS. When it's come to a request certificates, here we have a two types called public certificates and a private certificates. So public certificates provide by free ACM and use it for public facing websites and applications. So private certificates issued through ACM Private Certificate Authority for internal applications and services. For example, a business with websites at www.example.com and a subdomains like application.example.com can request a wildcard certificate for example.com to secure all the subdomains at once. So the next thing is validate domain ownership. It only authorized user can request certificate for a domain ACM request. You need to prove domain ownership through DNS validation or a email validation. When it's come to a DNS validation, it provides a DNS record that needs to be added to your domain's DNS settings. Once added, ACM automatically detects and validates the records. So when it's come to a email validation, it sends a validation email to the domain's registered email address. Recipient must click on the email to confirm the ownership. So deploy certificate. Once the validate certificate is ready for deployment, it allow you to attach the certificate to supported AWS resources easily. It supported some of the AWS resources like Elastic Load Balancer, CloudFront, API gateways, and a Beanstalks. So, for example, e-commerce website using ELB for scalability can deploy an ACM certificate to enable secure HTTPS traffic without needing manual certificate installation. So the last thing is automatical renewal and how it's work. The ACM automatically track the expiration date of each certificates and reviews and renews it before it expires. So for DNS validation certificates, no manual intervention is needed since DNS remains valid. So for email validation certificates, it's required to revalidate by email if domain ownerships need recommendation. For example, an organization hosting its blog to blog.example.com, its continuous HTTP request availability by letting ACM automatically review the associated certificate in every year. So the next topic is types of certificates in AWS Certificate Manager. So the Certificate Manager has primarily two types of certificates. So one is public certificates and a private certificates. So when it's come to a public certificates, these certificates are used to secure websites, APIs, or applications that are accessible over the public internet. They ensures encrypted communication between our users and the applications. So it's a free of cost. It provides a public certificate at no cost and reduce the cost of securing our internet facing resources. And it also certificates are trusted by a modern web applications or browsers and operating systems, ensuring seamless user experience without security warnings. And It has some use cases for websites and e-commerce platforms and a public APIs and the content delivery wise service like Amazon CloudFront. So, for example, for this use case, a company hosting an e-commerce websites can use our ACM provided public certificate to enable HTTPS, ensuring secure transaction and a building customer trust. So when it's come to our private certificates, these are used to secure our internal application systems or services that are not exposed to the public internet. These certificates are issued by a private certificate authority within our organization, and it is issued by ACM Private Certificate Authority. These private certificates are issued through a managed service that help you to create and operate your internal certificates authority. Uh, and it's not a trusted publicly. Unlike a public certificates, private certificates are not trusted by browsers or web devices unless explicit configured to trust the issue private certificate authority. So it uses the internal applications like entrant websites, securing communications between internal microservices or APIs, device authentications, and IoT systems. So, for example, an organization hosting an internal HR portal or a securing communication between its backend microservices can use ACM private certificate authority to issue private certificates. This is all about the private certificates and public certificates. So let's move to the next topic. So the comparison of the public and a private security. As of now, I already explained that. So it's provided for free of cost and it is issued private is issued by a and it is a paid service, and it trusted public browsers and devices. It's only private only trusts the organization configured systems, and when it's come to the common use cases, the public certificates uses the websites, APIs, and cloud forms e-commerce. uh, when private, it's only internals, APIs, IoTs. So and it's public is fully managed by AWS, and when you come to the private, it is managed through private certificate authority. So the certificate manager is integrated with some of the AWS resources. So let's go and check with which resources it has been integrated. So it's integrated with varieties of a core AWS services for enabling automatic development of SSL TCL certificates to secure your applications and resources. So here it is integrated with the Elastic Load Balancer, Amazon CloudFront, Amazon API gateways, and AWS Elastic Beanstalk. So Elastic Load Balancer, it automatically distribute incoming application traffic across multiple targets such as easy to instance containers or IP addresses. It ensures high availability on fault tolerance for your applications. For example, an e-commerce site, you would use Elastic Load Balancer to distribute traffic across multiple EC2 instances. You can configure AWS Certificate Manager to automatically provide and renew the SSL TCL certificates for your load balancer, securing all the traffics with HTTPS. Next one is CloudFront. What the CloudFront does here? So CloudFront is a content delivery network that cache and deliver web content like HTML, images, videos, and APIs to users globally with a low latency and a high transfer speed. So how it's integrated with a CloudFront? So it's secure content delivery. It's enable you to deploy SSL TSL certificates to cloud phone distribution, that content server through the content delivery network for encrypted and security, and it's a global HTTPS supports, and it's a automation renewal. Just like other integration, it's handle the renewal for certificates and reduce the manual overload. So for example, if you are hosting a media streaming site, you can use the cloud font to distribute video content globally. It's integrated with a cloud font to provide secure HTTPS connection, ensuring the user's data remain protected while accessing the content. So when it's come to a API gateway, it's a fully managed service that allow you to create, publish, maintain and secure APIs at any scale. It's a commonly used for building and managing RESTful APIs for web and mobile applications. So how it is integrated with the ACM. So it's encryption for APIs, easy setup and management, and automating certificate renewal. For example, so online banking application with APIs for mobile client, you would use API gateway to manage secure access. ACM would secure the API communication with SSL TCL certificate, ensuring certificate data like financial information is protected. So what is Elastic Beanstalk? The next thing is, so it's a platform as a services that allow you to easily deploy and manage application without worrying about underlying infrastructure. It supports multiple programming languages and frameworks. So how this is integrated with the Beanstalk? So it's in a built-in SSL TSL supports, and it's a HTTPS configuration and simplify the certificate management. So, for example, if you are deploying a web application using Elastic Beanstalk, you can configure ACM to automatically attach and manage SSL TSL certificates for the load balancer, ensuring secure HTTPS connection for the users. This is all about how the Amazon Cloud Manager certificate managers are integrated with the other AWS resources. So the next topic is um, certificate manager use cases. So it supports various use cases for securing applications and data. Here I took some most common use cases for AWS Certificate Manager. Here I have taken secure web applications, encrypting data and transist internal applications with the private certificate authority. So let's go and see one by one. So the first thing is securing web application. What is secured here? Websites and APIs. So it provides SSL TCL certificate to such web applications and APIs, enabling encrypted communications between a client, for example, browser and mobile applications and servers. How ACM helps here? By using SSL TSL encryptions, it simplifies the process of securing websites and web applications by automatically provisioning and deploying SSL TSL certificates, ensuring all traffics between a client and your server in encrypted and secure. And it also protected by HTTPS. By securing your web application with HTTPS, you protect sensitive data such as a login credential, payment informations, and personal data for being intercepted or tampered with during transition. For example, an e-commerce website uses ACM secure communication between the user's browsers and the web browsers by applying an ACM issued certificate. All customers' data during checkout and a payment is encrypted, ensuring protections against data breaches. So the next thing is encrypted data in transit. So here, what is secured? that is data in motion. ACM helps secure data transmitted over networks by enabling encryption protocols like SSL, TSL, which prevents unauthorized access or interception. So, how it's help here? So it provides end-to-end encryption. It's enable end-to-end encryption for web traffics, API calls, and even microservices communications by deploying SSL, TSL certificates. And also this is ensure data is encrypted, and it's also travel between endpoints, preventing unauthorized parties for reading or altering our data. So and it also supports a various protocols, and it's work with the protocols like https, web traffic, secure websites, and other API protocols that require encryptions. For example, a healthcare application means patient records. It used to encrypt patients' data, and it's transfer between different microservices within the organization. These ensure patient confidentiality is maintained and that the application meets compliance standards such as HIPAA. So the last thing is internal application with a private certificate authority. So it is what is secured with internal service and communication. So private certificates are used to secure communication between internal applications, microservices, databases, and other private resources that are not exposed to the public internet. It is help with the certificate manager. It allow you to create and manage a private certificate authority which issues SSL TSL certificates for your internal applications. So these can include microservices, databases, and private network communications that require encryptions. And it also uses the internal DNS validations using internal records, ensuring only trusted internal services and applications are issued certified. For example, an organization uses ACM to issue private certificates for secure communication between its microservices. So these microservices hosted in a private VPC uses ACM's private certificates to authenticate and encrypted traffic between services, ensuring secure communication within the internal network. Next thing is pricing. So comparison between a public and a private certificates. So when it's come to a public certificate, it's a free of cost. And when goes to the private certificates, is charges based on the number of certificates. And it's yes, it's a free of charge for the automation renewal. For the automation renewal, it's the charges are applied, and it's fully managed by ACM. And private certificate is managed through private certificate authority. When it's come to a pricing structure, it's a free for insurance renewal and a usage in a public certificates. And when it's come to a private certificate, it's subscription fee for ACM private CA plus certification for insurance also. So let's go to the AWS account. I'll show you how to request a certificate. I'll show you a demo on that. So go to certificate manager. So see here we have a create a private certificate authority and also a public authority. For this we request a certificate. So here it's a request certificates. So the request type is one is public certificate, another one is a private certifications. So the public certificates is trusted by browser and operating systems. So click on next. So here request a public certificate. So here you have to give the domain name. So here you have to give your own domain name. I don't have any domain names, so I'm just showing here. So here you need to give your domain name, and the validation method is, one is DNS validation, another one is email validation. If you give a DNS validation, it show the DNS records names. So if you give the email validation, it will send you an email for you. So the queue algorithm is RSA for key type. The rest of the thing will be same. So click on request. So after this, so if you have own domain registered, so you received a email for the validation purpose. You need to accept the things. So I don't have my own domain name, so I have given just www.com for that. So see, I don't have any registered owners, so I cannot go and accept those things. See here, it is in a pending validation, so I can't do anything as of now because of I don't have any domain registers. So this is the things. So here you can go and see the list of certificates. So it's a certificate ID, but it's still in a pending validation. So request type certificates, and after one thing, and after validating the things here, the pending status um, will become to a issued one. So and another most thing is, you cannot download the certificates. You can directly attach this with the AWS resources that I'll already explain. What are the AWS resources are integrated with the certificate managers. So this is how the things will work. So click on delete button, so it will delete the certificate. Click on delete. The certificate has been deleted. Thank you.